Hey, what's up? I'm Mr. Simon, and I'm your host for this episode of Just Kicking It. Now on this one, we're back with part 2 of our sit down with Luxury Culinary Curator, Tina Gray. Let's get into it. Oh yeah, almost forgot, what's on foot today? Bam! The Adidas Ultra Boost 21. Very comfortable shoe. That's enough free advertising for Adidas. Let's get into this interview. All right. All right, so what got you into cooking? What lit that initial spark for you?
Oh man, so I come from a family full of women that could cook, and you would think that that would have sparked it, but it's not. Like when they would be in the kitchen cutting up stuff for Thanksgiving and all that other shit, I'd be somewhere else. Like I didn't want to do it. I was the youngest out of all of them, so I definitely wasn't trying to do none of that. But once I got a little older, like maybe high school is when I start like really, oh, I like to do this. So all my friends would leave school. We'll go back to my house. Well, not all my friends, but a couple of them. We'll leave school and go back to my house, and I would make fresh toast. We'll cut class, and I make fresh toast. So that was one of the first things I learned how to cook, and I probably learned that from my sister. Like my sister's really good at cooking. Like she could taste something, and instantly she can make it. But I learned that from her. And then when I got a little older, I met my son's father when I was just my senior year in high school. And we ended up getting kind of married, but not really. And I felt like as part of the womanly, wifely duties, I needed to cook. And so that was my first stint of like really trying to cook and trying different meals, and everything was spicy as hell. So my mom used to be like, you make everything spicy. And still to this day, she'd be like, you make everything spicy. I hope you don't do this for your clients. I'm like, I do this for me. I like spice.
Right.
So yeah, that's what like really started it off. So I guess what I could say is all my failed relationships helped me learn how to cook.
There you go. All right.
Thank you, niggers.
Now you mentioned earlier in the conversation about doing culinary school and dropping out. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Oh man. So I first I went to school for broadcasting.
Okay.
And I ended up finishing that program out. It was like at the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, and I worked at Crawford Broadcasting for a little while. I wanted to work strictly for Power 92. Okay. They made me work for the gospel station first. I was pissed. And so while I was working there, like, you know, when you working in broadcasting or journalism, whatever, you don't get paid that much money. You probably get paid minimum wage. And so I was like, I gotta find another hustle. So I started making plates. And people would order them, like at the radio station that I worked for. I would take them to work, and I left dead air on the radio one day and got fired. And so I was like, man, let me just go back to culinary school real quick. So I went to the Art Institute, signed up for their program, and took the classes out of order. I think the first class you're supposed to take is like whatever the sanitary class is, to learn that ish, not or the knife skills or something. And I didn't do that. I ended up taking baking and pastries first, and I hated it. Mainly, I'm just not a precise cooker. Okay. And you know, with baking, everything got to be precise or you're gonna mess it up. So I was messing up everything. Yeah. I was thinking baking soda was baking powder and all type of stuff. I was all messed up. Okay. So I just didn't like it. And then once I saw how much it cost, I was like, whoo, $25,000 for this 3 months. Yeah. I'm out of here. I learned this on YouTube. So I dropped out and went to YouTube University. Yeah. And then I started thinking to myself, like, I'll work at different restaurants or different catering companies and treat that as a paid internship. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what I started doing.
I mean, I think it's excellent that you saw that it wasn't for you, and instead of trying to like motivate yourself to do something that you knew you didn't really want to do,
yeah,
and waste that money and that time, you immediately, or how long it took you to decide, all right, what's next?
Yeah, one thing I'm never gonna do is motivate myself to do something I don't want to do. Like I'm not built like that. Like I'll sleep all day before I be like, oh, I'm gonna go to work. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie to myself.
I've done that. I've motivated myself to. Usually when I do that, it's a bad result because my heart
Yep.
isn't in it.
Yep.
And that doesn't help me or whatever the situation is. So yeah, that's commendable. So you have your company. What's on the menu?
Yes.
Where did that come from? Where did the name come from? And can you tell me about that? What is that?
So at the time that I was I doing the plates yet? I don't even know if I was doing the plates yet. I was Lil Rel, the comedian, was one of my best friends at the time, and his wife. I used to talk to her all the time, and she called me one day and was like, "God told me to tell you to start a catering company." I was like, "God ain't tell you nothing like that." Like, no, he didn't. Like, he ain't gonna tell you to tell me something. So she was like, "No, seriously, God told me to tell you to start a catering company." And I was like, "I don't know about that, but what would it be called? Like, what's on the menu or something?" She was like, "Sounds good to me."
Yeah.
And that's where the name came from.
Okay. So is it you, or do you have a team, or how do you do this?
Right now it's really just me, and like if I have an event or something like that that I need help, I call on my friends, and whoever's available, they'll come out and help. I got a fake assistant, but like she helps whenever she can. Yeah. And then I have I've went through a lot of managers, so right now I have something that's like a more stable manager. But he's used to working in music, so he's trying to figure out this end of it because it's totally new for him. But I mean, outside of that, like it's really just me figuring it out every day.
How did you end up in Africa?
So I met this guy, Sam De Salut. What was this? This is 2021, 2020. Okay. So maybe early 2019, I met Sam. And I met him because I was doing a summertime shy party and needed a place to throw it. And he had a loft downtown LA. And so he was telling us how like he goes to Africa. He was leaving to go to Africa because he helps take care of these children in the orphanage. So I was like, dang, for real, tell me some more about it. So he was like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Make sure they get pads and shoes and clothes and stuff like that. So me having the heart that I have, I was just like, so you need a chef to go or anything? And he was like, yeah, that would be cool. Like, I'm pretty sure they would appreciate that. I had a chef that told me he wanted to go, but he backed out. I was like, well, I'll go. And that's just how it worked. Like, he told me what dates he was going. I probably had like $300 in my account at the time. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm finna go on this trip. The tickets to Africa is like $1,200, something wild. And I just went on my Instagram and was like, I'm gonna go to Africa and help take care of these kids, help feed these kids. So if y'all wanna donate, send some money to my Cash App. And people donated. Yeah. Like the first trip, I think I probably raised like maybe $4,000. The second trip, I raised about $10,000. Okay. And so that was enough for, to pay for me to go, and I took a videographer to go with me, and she captured everything. And we still like stocked their house up with food for like 6 to 7 months. And we built out like this, we built out like a storefront type of hut situation attached to their house so they could sell stuff out of it and keep money coming in. Yeah. So that's the.
How often do you still go, or?
I haven't been in a while. Well, I was supposed to go last year because I wanted to open up a restaurant over there, but COVID. Right. And so I put the money down for the restaurant and ain't been over there since. So, I do want to go. I don't know how, things are going to work out with this vaccine and all that other stuff, but I don't plan on getting the vaccine, so I'm praying for herd immunity.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I'm straight. I battle no more vaccines after chicken pox.
Exactly. For real.
What part? So I went to Mombasa, Nairobi. What part were you in?
I went to Uganda, so I was in the trenches. Yeah. Like, Uganda isn't even built up yet. Not like how Nigeria and Ghana and all them other places. Like, Uganda looks like, yep.
How did that affect you, being over there?
When I got back, I was real depressed for a little while. Seeing how happy they were with pretty much nothing. Yeah. or a little to nothing. Like I took some of my old shoes over there, and even the teenage boys that couldn't fit my size was trying to stick their feet in them because they just wanted something. So to see how grateful they were, and then come back here and my friends popping bottles and spending money on drinks and just being wasteful, I was just real depressed and I didn't want to be here. So I had to have like intense therapy when I came back. The second time around, I had to really go through therapy to like really fix my mindset, because I was like, I hate everybody. I hate all y'all. Don't talk to me. I was in a terrible place. Yeah.
How long were those trips when you were going over there? How long would you be there?
I wouldn't even be over there more than maybe like 10 days. Yeah, but that
Impactful though.
Yeah, it was hella impactful.
What can you share with us, with our audience, some of the hardships you've had, some of the successes you've had in becoming the entrepreneur and the businesswoman that you are today?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that I started What's on the Menu homeless. At the time, when I first started like making the plates and stuff like that, after I finished going to school for broadcasting and working at Crawford, I actually moved out of my apartment to save more money. And so I moved in with my mom for a little while so I could pursue my dreams, whatever. And we had ended up getting into a argument or something real stupid about me cleaning my room. And I was like, I'm grown as hell. Ain't nobody ever tell you to clean my room. Close the door. And she was like, well, it's my house. So I packed all my stuff and I just got in my car and left. And at the time, I think my son was maybe like 6 or 7 or something like that. So that just wasn't a smart thing to do with nowhere to go, but I was still selling my plates. So I remember I had a friend named Jay let me come over her house. I would make the plates while my son was at school and drop the plates off downtown Chicago, then come back, clean up and make dinner and then drop those plates off. So I had a few friends that like let me use their crib to do that, like Jay, Tika, Joe Fresh Goods. Okay. He was one of those friends that let me use his house. I remember I trapped out of his house. 420, I made all type of weed, cookies, and brownies. And I trapped out of his house, and man, he's just been a great friend ever since. So like that was like one of my struggles, and a lot of people didn't know because I was still posting on Instagram like, buy your plates or whatever. And how I had almost got found out is I ended up dropping one of the plates off to one of my homies, and I popped my trunk by mistake. And so he was going to close the trunk and he saw my stuff inside. He's like, damn, what you live in this motherfucker? Yeah. I was like, no, I don't. I'm just moving some of my things. So yeah, I was, using people's house. I used Lil Rel house to make some stuff. Like I was using people's house to do what I needed to do. Luckily it only lasted maybe like, I don't know, maybe 2 months, if that. Because I did have my name on a waiting list for an apartment. I just had to wait till I was called for it. And so until that time, I just had to get it how I needed to get it. And so that was like, man, that was a really rough time being a single parent and not having nowhere to really stay, like staying from pillar to post to make your dream or whatever. I don't even know if it was my dream it wasn't. I was just hustling. Like this has never been my dream until maybe like last year or the year before, when my therapist told me I needed to stop treating my $1 billion business like a hustle. And I had to change my mindset. So yeah, that was one of my toughest times. I think as far as like triumphs, man, I don't know, because I don't celebrate small wins. And that's a bad thing, because you're supposed to celebrate yourself, and that's what keeps you in gratitude and grateful. And I just never keep track of the things that I've done. Like even as far as when I was telling you, we just traveled from LA to do a job, then back to Arizona, then Chicago to do that. Like I don't look at this stuff as wins, because to me, I ain't won yet. So I really don't know like what one of my greatest triumphs have been. I mean, I've cooked for people's favorite rappers and people's favorite basketball players, but it's just another day to me.
Yeah. I mean, just to hear the small part of your story, I'm hearing to learn that you went from being homeless and still grinding and hustling while you were homeless
to where you are today? I mean, I don't know you personally, but just from the outside looking in, it looks like you are successful in your culinary business. I don't know how to really term that, but it looks like you're doing well to me, and I would assume it looks like you're doing well to others.
I think it always looks well to others, especially because of the times we live in with social media.
Yeah.
Like nobody broadcasts when they ain't got no clients or when they depressed, but I do. Like I'd be on my story like, I'm depressed, y'all, or I'm going through it. Like I want to give up because it'd be like 7 days in a week, and it might be 2 days, 3 days, maybe 7 that I want to give up, but I got to keep going. So, I mean, to everybody else, of course, like your highlight reel looks great, or what they think it is looks great, but the same struggles that everybody else has, like I have them too. So.
Feel free not to go too deep into it, but how would you feel? You've mentioned it twice, I want to say. How do you feel that therapy has helped you just deal with life in general?
I feel like therapy has helped me accept things a little more and be more optimistic than I once was, because I used to be Debbie Downer. Like you could call me and I got a story for you. Like, man, I don't feel like it. I just complaining, and now I don't spend much time complaining. Like I just be like, man, I got to keep going. And so even with like childhood traumas that I had, a lot of the time I spent with her, the homework that she used to make me do, I had to address who I was then. And even tell myself like, oh, it's not your fault, the things that you went through. I don't think as Black people we do that. We just be like, oh, you gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
Right, you'll be all right, instead of saying like, man, you was a victim in that situation, or just like really understanding what you went through and like trying to heal from that and move forward. And so I think a lot of what I've learned from her, and I still learn from her, because I be texting her like, excuse me, can I get a session? But she be too busy because I let all my Instagram followers have her.
Okay.
So, I've shared her with the world, and now I can't have her for myself.
Okay. I've actually thought about getting, just a little bit about me, I've thought about getting therapy myself, just for some of the things I've dealt with, still deal with. The only thing that kind of hinders me is anytime I have to pay somebody for that, whether it's going to church, I don't feel like paying tithes and offering, whether it's not necessarily a psychic, but you have those people who do that type of thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's an excuse I'm putting up.
It is, because even in church, it's not paying tithes and offering, it's giving. And even if you didn't want to give your tithes and offering, if you believed in the good of whatever you believe in, you're going to give it somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You might give it to a person on the street. And so that's how I look at it. Like, and then you also you're paying somebody for their time and their gift. True. So even though you don't feel like you should have to pay a psychic or a therapist, it's their time and their gift. Right. So, and sometimes our gifts are transferable to money. Yeah. Like cooking is a gift for me, and people don't feel like that they should pay me. They be like, ain't nobody paying you $500 for no chicken. That's cool. You won't have to. Somebody else will. True. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just look at it like that. Like, it's the law of divine compensation.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. I mean, that's something I'm dealing with. I'll get there eventually, because talking to friends and keeping it inside is not working. I thank you off camera. I want to thank you again on camera in front of everybody. You did not have to sit down with me, and I definitely appreciate that. Because this is a brand, RedL TV, Red Line Access Group, that me and my brothers are building, and I'm just thankful that I was able to talk to you today.
Well, I'm thankful I was able to bless you in some way. I don't know. Just hopefully.
I appreciate it. Can you, one more time, if people want to get in touch with you, social media, if they want to buy your products, can you just share that with them again?
So if you want to get in touch with me, do not call me, don't DM me. My Instagram is TinaGray24. My other Instagram is also WOTM Caters. No, my other Instagram is What's on the Menu _ That's what that one is. And then I just started the Instagram for the hot sauce, which is the Original Ruby. To buy any products, ebooks, or the hot sauce, you can go to WOTMcaters.com, and everything is on there.
All right. Again, I'm your host, Mr. Simon. We will see you on the next episode of Just Kick It. We're out.